Hello world, WayofTime here, bringing to you another episode of EEPower. So I've worked out my logical fallacies and have got a pretty good idea what I need to do to make sure that this is better. Now, I've been pretty much thinking that this should be a type of valve, but really, there's no reason for this to be a valve that I can think of. This will be on constantly, though I do see some reasons why it could be valve. It doesn't really need to work on it right now. So, just having it constantly allowing liquid to come from the tank should be what we should do for now, and then worry about some technicalities in like coding later on. Now, with that being said, that means that all we really need is the wire that will be on here. I believe I said it was going to be magenta, so we should just put the magenta wire on here and pretty much forget about it. So we got the magenta wire, that's good. And everything else is pretty much hunky-dory. I think so. Let's see, we got the biofuel. We got a lot of biofuel now that I think of it. We got a lot more biofuel over here. Probably now that I think of it, I should maybe transfer a bit of that biofuel back into the tank. Then again, we're generating enough liquid as it is, but that by the time I finish this build, we'll probably have some other stuff going for us, so to speak. So let's continue focusing on that. I'm gonna go grab it. Go into our quarry age. I'll need to eventually rebuild that engine for, let's just say, another project, but I'll just grab a yellow wire, then I'll be back, place it down, and this is the wrong quarry age. Okay, so we have our yellow wire. We'll just place that down here, and we'll be pretty much set for that. We should be able to turn this on at will by turning on the yellow wire like so. So we almost no longer need that stuff. It should go back to its area. Let's make sure that it's not going into our liquid transposer. That's why we don't want it to necessarily go into there. Now it doesn't look like this actually accepted any water. I'm not sure why that is, considering that it did go through the Tesseract and went into here. Maybe it accepted it in there first. Let's just test that for a second, because we want to make sure that water won't go into here unless something horrible happens, so to speak. That may be the reason. Wait, this is an input from the bottom. I'm actually oh, maybe it requires a can to be in here, which would mean that, Okay, I is confused. I is definitely confused why it's not actually sending stuff here, considering it's enabled low, and this isn't. Water's going in all the pipes. Unless it's no longer accepting water or there's no energy. But, might have to replace this block anyway. But it does tell me that we do need some sort of toggle block to make sure that that doesn't turn on when it doesn't need to be turned, well, on. Anyway, we should probably work on the other parts. I got definitely sidetracked right there. Let me think. Maybe. Turn that on. Turn that on. Now it's accepting liquid. So that is... Ooh, that's a mechanic I like. So what this means is that it goes to Tesseracts first, or rather, it sends it out to the liquid side. So it sends it out to the pipe, but if there's no room for the pipes to go, that's the only time it sends it out into another thing. So that is quite an interesting mechanic. So let's turn that off, allow the stuff to go back, we now know another little tidbit of information that will kind of be required for everything else. So let's clear this out again. Let's just manually put the 8 cells in since it'll be a lot less mouse clicking. There we go. Send it to the correct tesseract. Make sure none's going in here. That's good. So where were we going? Oh yes, so we are able to pull out any sort of item from a given slot. Getting a given slot is not really what we want as our be-all end-all. So what we'll want to do is make it so that we can pull any sort of item from any part of from the inventory. So what that pretty much means is that we need to try pull item on every single slot until it's done. So this is where call inventory comes into play. Now I actually had to break call inventory into 2 separate parts. Also, for a little bit later on, I'm going to need to add a new variable called color. And I'm gonna Canadianize it. So too bad. And let's put it as a 0 for now, since we're not going to use it for now. So this is broken up. So what this call inventory does is it's not supposed to be used by anyone except call inventory. That's why it's bracketed. Though you can still use it. If you do, you're probably going to be royally screwed. So I'd probably not do that. So what this does, it takes a few parameters in and does a do loop with it, and basically it takes the chest, so whatever the chest is, like how many slots are in the chest, and it does a do loop using that, going through all of them and doing pull item. Now pull item, as I said before, it actually returns the name and the need. So name need slot goes in and name need comes out. So we need to continually refresh the slot. That's how it's designed, and it works pretty well. So we basically take the need, the new need that comes out, and check if it's equal to 0. If it's 0, so if it doesn't need to do anything more, we unloop and exit out of this word. And then finish the loop. So that's call inventory with the brackets. So now comes the actual call inventory. If it actually interprets it correctly, we'll have to wait for that. There we go. So call inventory, this takes the need and the name and returns the need and name, but this is used in for some higher level words because call inventory only works on one particular chest. In the future, when we're able to actually change the address of the blasted Sortron, we'll be able to do a bit better than this, but for now, this is all we can do. So just searching one single inventory for what we need. So what we need to do is change the tube color. So whatever comes out of the tube will be painted 0, which is no color. The reason we do this is so that in the future, if we want some sort of color, we don't have to have some intricate system. We just change the color and do that. So we have to do a bit of swapping to make sure that we don't mess anything up, but we need the need. So we have to take the need and we have to check or take the sort slots, which basically calls how many slots there are, and do that do loop. There we go. And we swap the results and then do sort color, change it to 0. Even though it starts as 0 in this instance, it could be something else in the future, and we don't want to leave whatever this Sortron is to some nefarious color. So if we leave it as purple, we might wonder what the heck is happening to our sorting system once purple just flies out every single tube opening. Yeah, so what this should be able to do is take the cans. So say we want 8 cans, it'll be able to look through every single slot until it finds the 8 cans needed. So if we have 8 can, let's see, is it can? Yes, it's can. If we call inventory, 8 can call inventory, it'll first pull the 6, then it'll pull the 2, and it'll leave the 4 left over, and there's the 8. So this works, and thus it should be able to work for any sort of item that will be in here whenever that occurs. So this is pretty much the place where the sorting comes in. So we got, basically when we do the Mark II of the sorting system, we got a good starting point. But seeing as it's used in the Mark II sorting system, we will need to save this so we can refer to it later, and we won't actually have to rewrite anything. So let's get 2 blank floppies. One of these will be for the sorting system. So sorter call inventory, I think we'll call it, so that we don't mess it up in the future, and the other one will save as something else. So take the boot disk out, and we'll save this as, let's see, crafter call inventory, and that's all she wrote. So once that's done, we'll insert the new blank floppy, throw these boot disks in the boot or something, I don't know, over here, dirt, derp, 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 derp. Anyways, so bread. Now let's actually continue with the system that we are working on for the U list. Okay, so we got the ability to call the items, and now we need to program in all the switches that will be required. So white will be going to calling out the stuff from the chest. We could eventually have a Sortron do this. It'll be much more efficient. However, currently that is not a possibility, seeing as we can only have 1 Sortron active at a time, seeing as the screwdriver really sucks. Maybe it's a vacuum cleaner, or maybe it's made by Apple. So, let's see, we are going to want a few things. We're going to want a new liquid, so we want to be able to basically allot new liquids. So let's do that, new liquid. And we'll assign 4 cells to a new liquid whenever it is made. So for instance, we'll do create lava new liquid. Now we also will need to do a few things, which is assign the liquid. So assign will pretty much take the IO expander that's required, the wire, and the available, and the max, as well as it'll require the name of the liquid that you're doing this for. So for instance, our IO expander currently, even though you cannot see it, is, I believe, 3. So this is 3, that is 4 as default. So this is 3, IO expander is 3. And this wire color, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 8. The wire color will be 8. So this will be 3, 8. As a bit of a reference for biofuel, not lava. If it was lava, that could be a problem, seeing as we're throwing it into our boiler. I do not want any obsidian in my boiler. So, let's do that. So we need, just doing a simple do loop should suffice. So this do loop will take those stuff, but we need to rotate it so that we're able to get everything, and assign it in the one that we're getting. So let's do that, and then I'll try to explain this. So the 4-0 do, so it's doing a do loop for 4 iterations, and then it's taking the max and putting it in to the slot first. So first is the max, and wait a second. Okay, good thing there was a compiler error because I'm doing this the wrong way. So it's obviously the 4, 0, and do, and the duplicate, we need to do the rotate, and swap, but this I is wrong because we have the IOX wire available and max, but we need to do it in the reverse combination. Currently, what we have it set at is that it'll put the max in the first slot, but what I have it in my code is that in the order, it'll be the IOX, the wire, available, and max. So we need to do it the other way. So we need to do 3 I minus, so this will reverse the directions. Loop. And then we do, what was it? Was it a drop or a dupe? It's a drop. So this is probably currently spouting Blarganese, so I'll try to show it as a demonstration purpose. So let's wait for our assign to compile, and then we'll be able to do a new fuel, which will be biofuel, which will be helpful. So let's see, create biofuel new liquid. There we go. So we'll create a new liquid called biofuel. We got that. And let's see what's on our stack. We got the address of biofuel, though that doesn't really matter right now. So let's do, okay, it's currently 3 for the IOX, 8 for the wire, available, or rather how much we have in the tank, 2160 is the number, how many buckets we have. 2160, and the maximum amount that we can have in this tank is 10368. So 10368. 10368. And now biofuel might be helpful if I actually spell it correctly, and we need to do assign. There we go, so it should assign those numbers to biofuel. So to make sure it works, what we'll do is take biofuel, and in slot 0, it should be a 3. Making sure that is the case. We'll have to wait for it. There, we got a 3, so I am assuming everything else is working, seeing as I don't think it's likely the default number that this gives is a 3. So, now we got the IOX, and the wire, and the available, and the max, and we got dirt, which might need to be placed again. So we got that. That is good. We'll be able to go onwards to other things. Now, get cans. I'll want to be basically tick this so many times. So what I'm going to do for that is just wing it and basically turn it to 3 IOX address. So turn it on to 3, the IOX expander, and we'll do a do loop for however many times I specified, and turn on the wire. Wait for ticks, turn off the wire, wait for ticks, and do a loop of that, and them's she wrote. So, for instance, if we do 10 get cans, we should have this tick a total of 10 times. No. There we go. I just wanted to be consistent, because that was very, very, very annoying. Then again, this is there as well, so might as well do that. We should put one on the chest as well to be even more consistent, because that can backfire at all. Okay, so 10 get cans if we actually have our cap locks not on. Evidently, the transposer cannot tick that fast. So we are going to need to do a bit of a different thing. So forget get cans. We might need to do some testing. So have it 1 second in length? No, that doesn't even make sense. Let's do some testing, basically change the ticks delays that we need, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I tweaked the other delay so that it's 6, and I think it works. So for instance, if we do 10 get cans, it should interpret it and send over 10 cans and be efficient about it. So that takes half a second per can. So we'll be able to factor that in for the timing for other devices. So the white wire is now used and useful for once in its miserable. How long have you been alive? I'm not sure. So we got that. So we need to do another thing, which is open the liquid valve of the particular liquid that we're going to be going for. So that should be easy enough. So to open the liquid valve, we should only need the name of the liquid. And we'll need to do a few things with that. So what the liquid has is pretty much this. Since we have IOX and the wire, all we need to do is take the name L and duplicate it. And to get the IO expander, we just do at, since 0 cells plus, just add 0 to address. And change the IO expander to that. And now to get the wire, we just do 1 cells plus at. So we take the name and go to the first cell location, well technically the second one, but it's cell location number 1, and set it. And that's all we need to do. So for instance, biofuel will be easy. So let's do biofuel. If we wait for a second, we'll just have to wait for that. So biofuel, we'll just do open liquid, and it opens the valve of it. So right there, it's now open, and obviously some of it's recursively going backwards, because that's how it works. Though none of it's going into the liquid transposer, which is good, which is what we want. If we turn on the magenta, it will go into the liquid transposer and make some fun stuff happen. In fact, let's just turn that on so it goes into the liquid transposer. I'll turn it off, and then we're going to need to close the liquid. So what we'll do is do that. So as the same as open liquid, since we can get the wire, we'll just take the same wire and do IOX reset to turn it off. Close liquid. CLS liquid. Even though that's kind of known as clear screen. Dupe at, hope it doesn't mix anyone up. 1 cells plus at, and change it to IOX reset. There we go. So this is still going a little haywire, therefore all we need to do, sorry, all we need to do is just do biofuel, close liquid. Somehow I hit the dang button. So close liquid did work, it turned off, and everything's working, yay! So all we need to do right now, currently in the very low level stuff, is to just have the wire here turn on so that the liquid that comes out of here can go, well, the liquid can go in here and then can go into here. By closing this off, the liquid will go into there instead because of the previously said mechanics. And the liquid coming out of here, due to the cans, will go into here and will be okay, and can thus find an algorithm for everything else. Okay, doing that should be easy enough to do. All we need to do is turn on the wire for opening the valve, and close the wire for, well, closing the valve. So we can probably wing that. So opening the valve. And since we have multiple types that I'm hoping we can get, we should put a .t showing that this is for a transposer. So to put liquid into the transposer, we need to open the valve. Seems easy enough. So open valve. What we need to do is change the IO expander to this. and set the magenta wire to such. And then after that, we need to close the valve .t, which is just 3 IOX address for IOX reset. There we go. Ah, dang, 1 terabyte hard drive. Just filling up so quickly, with recording. So we got closed valve, we got open valve. That should be all the valve we need. Haha. So let us do a bit of figuring out the algorithm. So for instance, if we need to get 10 cans from there, what we'll do is just do 10 can and call inventory, but we need to do to drop. So calling 10 cans from there, that'll work. And now what we'll do is call 10 cans from there, or rather first we'll do, let's see, open valve.t. So we'll open the valve, make sure liquid can go in. We'll take the biofuel. So biofuel, and what is our biofuel going to be using? What is it? Open liquid. So there we got the cans in. We opened the valve. We are opening the liquid valve. And then we need just 10 get cans. So it's sending the cans, and the cans will go to the liquid here, which will then be sent to the transposer here, which is filling up the biofuel cans. Now this is obviously looks like a stupid setup as it is right now, but we can use refractory wax instead in the future and it will still work. So there we go. Now what we should do now is we got 10 get cans. What we need to do is biofuel close liquid to close that valve off, and we're going to need to do the close. Do we need to close the valve? Yes. Close the valve. And finally 10 get cans to get the remainder liquid out of here and into here. And it's going into there, not into here. So we got our 10 biofuel cans. And everything is getting sent here, over there rather, and everything will work. So all that we really need to do is put those commands into a bunch of words, into a program that we should just be able to call the number of items that we need and the liquid, and it should be able to automatically take the stuff out. Now, another thing that we're going to need to do in the future is find an easy way to take biofuel cans and then put them back into the nature, so to speak. So, say have some way to access into here, just send all the liquid cans into here, just throw them in, and then it'll automatically liquid transpose it. We could probably have an item input there and then just send a relay to throw that in and have some way to get the cans either go to the chest over there or have it send it back to our inventory, since hey, refractory cells are hard to get. Or we can do some other automated wizardry like that and have a fully automated system, such as a way to craft the cans, bring them over here, use the cans, and then use that new item that's here, send it out somewhere. We do have a few extra sides that we can take advantage of, and use that item in its own recipe and expand our Mark II so that it's even more marky than ever. Better than snarky, I guess. And pretty much for a proof of concept, we'll want to add cells into here. So we want to do create cell new item, and we'll want to scan in the item. So what we need to do is do the item exclamation mark. So cell slot 1 item exclamation mark, and we can do the whole process again with the 8 cells that we have. So 8 cell call inventory to drop open valve.t biofuel.open liquid and 10, or rather 8, get cans. This will go through the entire thing. Just turn them on manually, one by one. It'll send the stuff over here. That's on. It'll send the cans once that's ready, if it's going to be ready. Okay, biofuel.openLiquid obviously doesn't work. Open liquid, 8, get cans. This is why we want an algorithm to do all this typing instead of me just being all sausage fingered with everything. So all of it's getting sent. Since it's going to go in, it'll just be able to get sent here. And biofuel is not able to go into cells. Can it? Ha 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 ha! Can it? That is kind of sad that I thought of that, you know. I love my life. Okay, so let's just close the valves, get everything good. So close the valve. We'll need to do the 10 get cans, and we'll need to close the liquid valve first. So close that valve. Biofuel, close liquid, close valve.t, and 10 get cans to get everything out of the system. Like so, everything's going to go that way instead. Everything will be okay. It'll be sent to the proper place. Nothing else will be in here. And now we know cells are very fickle, and let's see what cells are actually used in. Maybe we could have actually put it at the bottom instead. Cells? Cell! Oh dear. So, with every 10 episode landmark, like episode 70, which is this one, you can take a map download, which is going to be in the description below. Now, with this one, all you have to do is download the Mindcrack pack, and then take the map download that I have. You're also going to need to install Equivalent Exchange with the universal configs. Just take that from the Direwolf 20 pack. And also, I believe the Mistcraft, also from Direwolf 20 pack, so you know what to do. But also download Xeno's Reliquary, and then add the configuration files that I have in my save download, and then add them to the pack so that you can actually use some of the stuff that's in my inventory. It's not necessary, but funky things might happen when you look in my drawers. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of EEPower. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. Considering you can't see me, I don't see how you like it. WayofTime here, signing off. Have a wonderful day.